UFC Vegas 82. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on the card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure to share the video as well. And also note, I will be live for the entire UFC Vegas 82 fight card Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Do not miss the fight companion. And let's get into our first fight of the night. We have Charles Johnson versus Rafael Estevam. All week, I have been picking the side of Estevam to get the win because of the grappling base. And I think a wrestling onslaught that will give Charles Johnson difficulty to let his hands fly, his kicks, and then he ends up being put on his back for a good amount of the fight. And also Estevam's grappling aiding to his stand-up game. Nonetheless, Estevam did miss weight. He came in at 128 pounds, where his UFC debut previously was scheduled against Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Weight cutting being botched is the reason that he didn't have that debut. So to me, if I'm the UFC, next fight, Estevam, you're going up to 135 because you can't make flyweight here. Obviously, Johnson, the inner G as an absolute G, takes the fight, even though his opponent's a little bit over. 2 pounds over the 126-pound flyweight limit. Not a ton, not a crazy miss, but still, nonetheless, a weight miss. Let's look at them on the scales. To be honest, immediately what I thought when I saw Estevam weigh in is that he looked pretty healthy here at 128. Like, his face doesn't look crazy sucked in. I don't think that he pushed it to cut those extra 2 pounds, which is the reason it was a calculated miss. He probably could absolutely drain himself to make 126 or weigh in at 128. You have a little more. You feel less of that fatigue when we turn over to fight night, and your rehydration, definitely better because you're starting from a higher point. You didn't destroy your body down to 126. He looks healthy. He looks decent in the face. And, the arms are out wide. He looks a little bit confident. There's another picture here. Like, his face does not look bad. That doesn't look like somebody that, was sacrificing so much to get to, 128. I think that this was a calculated miss here. And then on the other side, Charles Johnson, he looks good and ready to go at 126 pounds. We know that he has good striking. It's just, can he keep it upright? Can he keep it on the feet? And Estevam with the slight advantage of not cutting the extra 2 pounds. At the end of the day, a little bit shorter on the side of Estevam. I do think he's going to look to close the gap and grapple. I'm not going to stray from my prediction of Estevam. I'm sticking with him to get the win. I do believe it's a decision. I don't think this is an easy fight. Charles Johnson is still a dangerous kickboxer. Doesn't have the big one-punch thud, which I think is a viable factor to have more confidence on the Estevam side succeeding with the grappling onslaught. So Estevam is around -150 as the favorite, as low as -130 to Johnson at +130. I am picking Estevam to get a decision over 2.5, -225. He's 11-0 as a pro. This is his UFC debut, and he's taking on a tricky veteran in Charles Johnson. I don't love, betting down on Estevam. I think he can get the win. The weight miss is there. How does he potentially respond to Charles Johnson? Takedown defense holding up well. It's possible. Johnson's not an easy guy to finish at all on the ground and control. I do think Estevam's got the tools to get a hard-fought decision win. So I'm going to pick Estevam by a decision. That line for decision is +160. But nonetheless, I don't really love the betting side here because we have a debuting guy who looks like they should win versus a veteran in a fairly close money line fight. Definitely not on the crazy wide side. I'm going to pick Estevam. But yeah, like I said, I guess I'm not crazy about betting this fight here. I like Estevam to get a decision win, but not an easy out against Charles Johnson in this bout here, where Estevam did come in overweight. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, it's Nikolas Motta versus Trey Ogden. Now, this matchup I like a lot. I'm picking Trey Ogden and have been all week long. Motta is a very powerful striker, but he's also quite hittable, and he's been knocked out, I believe, 4 times as a pro, twice in the UFC. If he lands, there's serious thud on the shots. Now, on the side of Trey Ogden, even though I feel like his UFC run is less than impressive here, both guys with 1-2 records, you have to look at the actual fights, right? He has a win over Daniel Zellhuber, who's a highly regarded prospect in the UFC lightweight division. On Motta's side, he fought Van Camp and got a win. And, Van Camp is no longer with the UFC. He actually just lost in bare knuckle fighting championship. I think that Trey Ogden is live to get a win over Motta here. Not known for his knockout power, but if Motta does overextend himself, it's not impossible that Ogden could find the chin. Just because you haven't KO'd somebody doesn't mean it couldn't happen. We'll look at them on the scales, though. I am picking Ogden to get it done. I think he'll have a calculated striking game and get a victory. There is Motta with the salute to the people. There is Ogden. He looks decent on the scale. Looks like he just woke up out of bed, to be honest, but that's the weight cut for you. Eyes looking a little buggy. Then there's the face-off. You can see Ogden a little taller. I'm not sold on Motta's game. I think he punches hard, but outside of that, I think he's hittable, and I think Ogden is the overall better MMA fighter. Technical game is superior, and I'm going to pick Ogden to get a decision win, but not going to go run out and bet the decision. If you are betting Ogden, he's an underdog, plus 110. Money line, A side, in my opinion, if you're looking to throw down money lines. Motta, minus 130, the favorite in this fight. I do believe something interesting was Ogden to win by knockout at plus 1,000. The likelihood is not all that high, and that's why it's plus 1,000 for the tag. But Motta's been knocked out previously. Yeah, Ogden has 0 knockout wins, like I said, but not impossible he gets a KO. Jamal Emmers is not known for knocking anybody out. He knocked out Dennis Bazooka last week. Jared Gordon, not known for knocking anybody out. Knocked out Mark Madsen last week. It's not impossible here with Motta, who is got a question mark around the chin and is willing to sit and throw hard and overextend potentially and get caught by Ogden, who is still a decent striker and has a more calculated pace, which is the reason that I kind of think decision makes the most sense. Ogden might mix in a little grappling to him, and excited to see. I'm going to pick Ogden to get it done. Decision, the official call, is crazy, plus 1,000, Hail Mary prop, not impossible either though. And then obviously plus money, straight attack on the Ogden underdog money line. We're going Ogden to get the win in the second fight of the night. Next fight on the card, it's Lucie Pudilová versus Ailin Perez. So Ailin Perez, 136.5 for this matchup here, slightly over. She did weigh in a second time and I believe made weight. So this might be a non-updated mismark by Tapology, but nonetheless, I don't think that really matters here. The pick has been Ailin Perez throughout the week. I feel as though she's got a stronger base than Lucie Pudilová, and you're going to see Ailin Perez for fair amounts throughout the fight secure top position. I also can see Ailin Perez having success striking with Lucie Pudilová, backing Pudilová up and landing hard shots. Where there's like the sneaky value on the betting side would be in the props, which we'll talk about in 1 second, but I do want to bring up the ladies on the scales and give them a bit of a glance. There is Ailin Perez. She looks very good on the scale. She's got a menacing look in her eye. She looks evil, actually. There's Pudilová. She looks like a scarecrow. She kind of looks like a scarecrow to me. I don't know. Interesting look for her. Kind of like also like a shark too, like the shark eyes, you know? And then there's the face-off. Pudilová a little taller. Ailin Perez looks like she's got rocking a shiner over there. It's good, though. She's sparring hard. I think Perez is going to manhandle her. Look at the muscularity difference when they get in the grappling entanglements. I think it's Perez all day. And even in the striking, I think she'll back Pudilová up. So the pick is Perez. She is a minus 170 favorite. So, she is a favorite. She's not plus money. But hey, plus 145 Pudilová. I think Perez should win. I understand why she's the favorite. Perez by submission, plus 650. Perez by knockout, plus 600. And Perez inside distance, plus 300. I do think there's a chance that Perez is able to get a finish in the second or even third round of this fight here with Lucie Pudilová. Official call is Perez on the cards, but the submission prop doesn't seem crazy, really, nor does the knockout, but I would expect more ground and pound. So I'm kind of leaning sub more than knockout at plus 650. It's a big plus money tag. The decision prop at plus 100 is not exciting to play. I think, money line, the A side for Perez over Pudilová. If you're looking to get a little extra juice, maybe you're touching plus 650 win by sub with the sprinkle, because I do think there is a chance for it. Picking Ailin Perez to get the win in this fight here. Yes, she's a favorite. She's expected to win. I will expect her to win. and I say she gets it done here. Riding with her, Nurmagomedov Perez to get the win. Next fight on the card, we have Lucas Alexander versus Jeka Saragih. So, Alexander missed weight. Came in at 148, 2 pounds over the featherweight limit. Unfortunate with these damn weight misses on this card. So I look at this fight, and I think that Alexander's going to win. I'm picking him here. He's the more crisp kickboxer with the Brazilian Muay Thai striking style. I think Jeka Saragih has nice kicks, but will overshoot kicks and overthrow kicks and sometimes, make not great choices with his kick onslaught. Now, you look at his last fight, it was against Anheliger, and that loss has aged very badly. Granted, up a weight class at 155, and Jubilee is a grappler. It's striker versus striker here. Though I could see Lucas Alexander having the grappling advantage over Jeka Saragih, and Alexander being confident in following up Saragih to the ground if he is able to hurt him striking. Let's look at the scales, though. Let's check these guys out. I'll see how Alexander, who missed weight, looks, and then with Saragih as well. There is Alexander, who came in off weight. Face looks a little sunken in, but he's got the beard really covering the cheeks. I can see that he had a bit of a weight cut, man. I think this was a miscalculation. I don't think this was an intentional miscalculation. I'd hope not, but maybe. Giving up Pearce, though. Saragih looks confident, excited, ready to be here. He's just thankful that he's getting another UFC fight after getting destroyed by Jubilee. Then we got the face-off. I just think Alexander's live to beat him up. I think Alexander can get the knockout in this fight. I don't like that he missed weight. I don't like his body language at all. I don't like his vibe, his whole aura on Alexander's side. So the odds that we're looking at for the vibe that he's giving me, I don't know. It's just a shit vibe. I could see him going out there and just having a dud of a performance as a pity performance because of his weight miss and he's irritated. Nonetheless, I'm still picking him to win, but I think that betting him at minus 500 would be stupid. And it's a potential parlay addition for a longer shot parlay, but I wouldn't even want to lock it up in my most secure parlay because he came in overweight. He doesn't have good body language. Minus 500, Saragih plus 385. I don't feel that the line is right here for this matchup. I see it as 2-1 favorite Alexander. You want to push it 3-1 favorite Alexander, but 5-1? No, those are overly large lines. Now, Alexander was supposed to fight David Onama, gets his fight against Saragih 2 weeks later. He's supposed to fight in Sao Paulo. Saragih needed an opponent, but this to be minus 500 is odd. Over 1.5 minus 160, I do think is possible, though I think Alexander has a possibility of getting Saragih out of there. Do I want to bet the house on that? Absolutely not. The knockout for Alexander is minus 105, so there's really not much value on it. Alexander by decision is plus 285. He could out kickbox and win a decision over Alexander. You're not crazy for touching that prop line. You look at the fight with Peterson last time out for Alexander. He won that fight. He did damage in that fight, but it did go distance. I think he'll have more confidence on follow-ups here, though, with Saragih. I'm going to pick Alexander by KO, but I'm not touching the KO prop. I guess the decision prop plus 285. It's possible Alexander knocks him out. Minus 105. Am I absolutely not touching it? I think no. I don't know. Right now, I just don't feel as though I want to run after a minus 105 KO prop for Alexander who missed weight and I didn't like his body language. So I'm going to pick Alexander to win. The official prediction will be a knockout. He's just way too wide of a favorite money line to even consider betting and more of a long shot parlay piece in it, if anything, really. Next fight on the card, we got Mick Parkin versus Caio Machado. I've been picking Mick Parkin all week. I think this is a pretty straightforward fight. Parkin should be able to outbox Machado pretty seriously, and I think Machado's going to walk into some really hard punches, and I see him actually getting knocked unconscious here. I think the hands for Parkin are going to fly beautifully. I think he's going to deliver some heavies. I mean, Tom Aspinall's coming off the performance of a lifetime, winning the interim belt, and now his training partner fighting the next week. They got to be riding at all-time highs. I'm going Parkin. I'm going knockout, and I think he's going to earn a bit of fans in this matchup here if he's really able to put it on Caio Machado like I think there's potential that he does. Now, looking at the scales between these two savages. Let's check them out. There is Caio Machado. I don't know. I mean, he looks fatherly in this. He kind of looks like a Brazilian Peter Griffin a little bit. Obviously a little bit thinner in the waistline, but facial structure-wise. And then you look down, you got Mick Parkin. He looks funny as hell, man. I don't know. It's just a funny look, too. I don't think it's accurate to Chris Griffin with a red beard, but it's kind of what I'm seeing from the emotion. I think that Parkin's hands are going to be on display. I really think he's going to beat up Machado, man. I'm just not convinced that. I think Machado's getting knocked out. Like, look at them facing off. Does it not just scream Parkin by KO? Because that's what I'm hearing scream in my ear. So Parkin, knockout, official prediction. I feel pretty good about him sleeping Machado. Let's look at the odds. Minus 360 for Parkin to Machado at plus 285. I agree with the minus 360 tag for the most part here. I would rather see it at 3-1, but he should be a level above Machado's game. Machado also coming off that win over Shaflarsky on Contender Series. Shaflarsky was, I don't even know, I'm saying his name wrong. Shaflitsky. Fucking Shaflarsky was terrible. He was one of the worst fighters I've seen on Contender Series ever. Now, I hope he makes it to the UFC one day if he's watching this, but he looked horrendous. And Machado won a decision. I think Parkin would have destroyed Shaflarsky, and I think Parkin's going to destroy Machado. Over 1.5, minus 200. I wouldn't bet that. I think we might be going under plus 160. Parkin by KO plus 190. I think that makes a ton of sense. I see his hands on display. I see him knocking out Machado. KO win for Parkin. I see it one-way traffic. Dominant performance for the Brit. And I think it's the English heavyweight takeover. That's the rate we're going on. Let's say Parkin adds to that savagery. Yeah, he's taking out Machado, a.k.a. Bigfoot. Listen, there's one Bigfoot in this game, and that's Bigfoot Silva. If you're another Brazilian, you got to do something else. You got to switch the nickname. Bigfoot, there's one Bigfoot. Listen, Mick Parkin, knockout, and then Machado needs to change the nickname after the fight. All right, next fight on the card. We have Christian Leroy Duncan versus Denis Tiuliulin. I've been picking Christian Leroy Duncan since the fight was announced. He's a confident pick. I think that he should dominate Denis Tiuliulin. I think he's the more crisp and technical striker, so we could go out there and outpoint him for a decision. But Tiuliulin taking this fight on short notice, I think could fade in the second or third round. And then you look at the potential for Leroy Duncan to grapple him. I think the better athlete is Leroy Duncan. I can see him taking Tiuliulin down, especially after having success on the stand-up. So I am picking Christian Leroy Duncan to get it done. As far as the fighters on the scales, let's check these dudes out. We have Tiuliulin, who all of a sudden looks awesome on the scale. On short notice, he looks good. He looks really good. Christian Leroy Duncan looks good as well. I would not guess Tiuliulin's taking this on short notice like that, like days notice. He looks in pretty good shape, so it tells me he's been training hard. He actually's got a nice, slick, like finance haircut. Looks like he's working in business. He's looking to do some business in the cage on short notice and cash because the finances are going up with him taking this short notice fight. Nonetheless, I have to ride with an up-and-coming prospect who I believe has a lot of potential. When Christian Leroy Duncan burst onto the scene, I believed in him from the get-go. I'm not going to fade away from my confidence in the guy, especially a short notice Tiuliulin. It's more about method of victory. Tiuliulin is hard to put away by knockout, so Leroy Duncan might have to go to 3. But if he could get it to the ground, there's a live opportunity, I think, for a submission win for the side of Leroy Duncan. Let's look at the odds for the fight. Let's look at the odds. Leroy Duncan, minus 600 favorite. Wow, it's gotten wide. Tiuliulin, plus 425. Listen, Leroy Duncan's going to win. It's about how, not if. Let's see. Leroy Duncan by a decision is plus 250. By a knockout is minus 105. I'd be careful with that knockout prop because Denis Tiuliulin can scrap, and he's got a chin. Submission, Leroy Duncan, plus 750. I know he's not known for the submission, but he does have a sub win 2 years ago over Justin Moore, who is 10-5. I believe Tiuliulin came into the UFC with a 10-5 record. I'm not using superstition here, but rear naked choke, and then you're looking at plus 750. I think I might be jumping on the submission train because the method of victory is so blurry here. And I think there's a possibility of sub. Now, knockout could be there. Leroy Duncan's got good stand-up. But he could hurt Tiuliulin, get this fight to the floor, and lock in a rear naked. So give me sub. Give me plus 750 sub. I'm not telling you go bet the fucking farm on it, though. You want to sprinkle it down, okay. But, bet it intelligently. The method of victory here could easily be decision. And it could be knockout. But minus 105 for knockout, that makes no sense. I think it should be plus 225, plus 300 for knockout. Because Tiuliulin's not easy to KO, regardless of the short notice. Leroy Duncan's way too wide of a favorite. Do we go over 1.5, under? It's a coin flip. I'd keep it at that. If you want to bet it, just flip your own coin. You going heads, you going tails? I'll say we land on tails. I'm saying we're going to go over. We're going to over 1.5 minus 120, but it's a coin flip. Tiuliulin to win. And I guess if you want to be a savage, you touch that plus 750 with the savage prop. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight on the card, we have Chad Anheliger versus Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson is the lock of the week. I'm predicting that he gets the win. I really like the stylistic matchup for him. Now, you guys know, I had a 10-week unbeaten streak. I was 9-0-1 in the last 10 last week. It all fell to shambles because I lost a lock last week with Pavlovich getting chinned, which turned out to be a horrendous lock. But nonetheless, 9-1-1 in the last 11. I think I'm getting to 10-1-1. I think I'm moving forward positively here. I'm going to say Jose Johnson gets a decision over the tough Chad Anheliger. His height and reach are substantial factors. And then add on top of that his athleticism. He should outstrike and outwork Anheliger for the 3 rounds. So I'm picking Johnson for the W. Looking at these fighters on the scales, let's check them out. Let's check these savages out on the scales. There's Chad Anheliger. He looks ready for business. There's Jose Johnson. He's got his fingers crossed. Superstition coming into factor. I do think he gets the win. And then you look at the size difference. The height and reach difference is crazy. I'm picking Jose Johnson to beat Chad. Lock of the week, decision win. I think he can pull it off. But I have said his length is an interesting factor, right? Because Jose Johnson's a very long guy. Money line is now minus 205. Earlier on in the week, it was a lot better, but, minus 205, not horrible. Plus 175 Anheliger. Looking at Johnson to win by sub, what is that line? Plus 500. I know Anheliger's hard to finish. Johnson, not necessarily known maybe for the subs, but he's got the type of length that could submit a shorter guy. Arm length is a real factor. I don't know. Maybe. Not crazy about it. I'm picking decision, though, for Johnson officially. I think he gets it done on the cards. The decision will sit at plus 185. Money line's the best spot. Minus 200 range. Parlay piece, best spot. Johnson, huge height and reach advantage. The younger guy, too. Every statistical edge you can have. Then add into the fact he's more athletic, faster, and I think the better striker. And Anheliger hits hard, but he's not all that crafty. Let's be honest here. He's got a simple style. He'll throw hard. He'll press forward. He's tough. Johnson can get the win. I'm picking Johnson to beat him. Lock this week. Next fight on the card is the featured prelim of the night. It's Jonathan Pearce versus Joanderson Brito. Hell of a fight here between these two. I'm going to pick Jonathan Pearce. I have been picking Jonathan Pearce all week, but I won't lie. Jonathan Pearce is fighting a dangerous Brazilian who has crazy hard punches, is very strong, and I think is live for a submission early in the fight, especially if it's a club and sub type submission. But if Jonathan Pearce can be more calculated in the first round, avoid the fist of fury from Brito's side early on, I think Pearce can make Brito tired, and I think Pearce can beat Brito in the second, in the third, getting a decision when he can drop the first and then win second and third. But if the takedowns are working early, control Brito on the ground, wear on him, break him down from there, I think Pearce is live to get a decision. So I'm going to pick Jonathan Pearce to get the win. Officially, it's a decision win for him. I do want to check these guys out on the scales and see how these savages are looking here. There is Joanderson Brito, inked up, shredded, jacked. He looks confident, man. He looks confident. He's a dreamer. And then you have the weird battery tattoo of Jonathan Pearce. You might just have to fade him because of that damn tattoo, to be honest. Tattoo battle, Brito's levels above. Like Jonathan Pearce, it looks like somebody could have done that in a back alley. Brito's got some artwork on him. So if you're into the tats, I don't know. Maybe you're going Brito knockout. Then we got the face-off. I'm not feeling all that confident in Jonathan Pearce at the face-off. He's fighting a scary-looking guy. What can I say? I have felt like this is a coin flip fight all week. I'm feeling like Pearce could win it by a decision. I'm picking Pearce. I'm not flipping the pick, but I'm cautioning you guys if you're throwing it down on Pearce. Like, Brito's a heavy-handed, dangerous underdog who, I won't lie to you, I considered picking when I was breaking it down Sunday. When I thought about it, I said, you know what, though? Pearce could put a pace on him. Pearce could survive an early onslaught and win a decision, and that's what I'm going to ride with. I'm going to ride with Pearce winning that decision. Minus 130 for Pearce, plus 111-ish, plus 112 for Brito. The over is plus 150. That's crazy, man. They think that there's higher possibility of a finish than it going over? That's weird. Pearce by decision, plus 215. Pearce by KO, plus 300. No. Pearce to win by submission, plus 600. Okay, so let's look at something real quick. Pearce to win inside distance, plus 175. Brito to win inside distance, plus 155. Brito to win by decision, plus 600. Pearce by decision, plus 215. It's like close money. Like it's even Stevens, right? Brito by a decision will shock the books at plus 600. I'm going to say Pearce by a decision, but it's just odd that you have this wide of a plus money tag on the over 2.5 as well. Let's go Pearce decision. It's a concerning pick, though. I won't lie to you. I'm worried about this fight. I'm very excited to watch, but I'm worried because Brito's dangerous. But plus 150, the over might be a sneaky play, man. Can they survive the full 3? Maybe. I'm going to say Pearce decision. I'm not touching the money line. Might be looking at the over, how I feel fight day at plus 150. That's a decent tag. But Brito's definitely got the first round chance, especially the first round. He's heavy-handed and he's got good subs. So we're going to pick Pearce in a coin flip fight to close out the prelims. And let's see what happens between these guys. Next fight on the card brings us to our main card. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We have Uros Medic versus Myktybek Orolbai, who honestly looks like he was created with AI. This picture does not look real. Very strange topology pick. I'm kind of putting out a conspiracy that Orolbai has been already on the UFC shortlist, just waiting for a debut and training for a short notice spot, because I noticed as I'm doing Late Night Live, Orolbai takes the fight Wednesday. On Late Night Live, I'm checking out MMA Fight Center to do my breakdown. You don't know what Late Night Live is? It's my Thursday night live stream show. And we're looking at Orolbai already having his official UFC pictures and headshots and everything. So that was strange to me that a fighter who's debuting on just days' notice has all that set up. This is a dangerous guy, okay? Orolbai was already planned on being signed. Nonetheless, I ended up on Thursday saying I'm going to pick Uros Medic. And I feel like there's a high chance that I regret that. But I was so confident in Uros Medic on a full camp to beat John Parsons. Now he's taking on Orolbai. It's like, oh my gosh. I think Orolbai is a terrifying striker. I think he's got a strong grappling base. Let's check out the damn scales. The pick has been Medic, but I won't lie to you, man. I'm very tempted to pick flip. There's Orolbai. The guy doesn't look real to me. He looks like a created fighter in UFC 5. And then there's Uros Medic. Looks all right. Then we got the face-off. I'm not going to go against the initial lean, okay? But Orolbai might be a destroyer of worlds because he absolutely killed his last opponent, destroyed the guy before. He's 11-1. It's just like the unknown, man. Medic is preparing for this fight. Orolbai comes in. But then the opposite can be said. Medic preparing for Johnny Parsons, who, let's be honest, Orolbai would probably kill. Fuck this. Fuck this pick. I'm going Orolbai. That's what I'm feeling on the inside. Orolbai's going to knock him out. I already see it. If Medic somehow wins, well, shame on me for pick flipping. But I feel like Orolbai is going to chin him. This guy looks terrifying. Then he gasses out and gets finished. I hate this fight. I hate this fight, actually. I love to see it, but I hate to pick it because deciding on this one, I've been sitting on it since the Thursday show telling you guys who knows. Odds are about even. Minus 104 Medic, minus 116 Orolbai. I'm going Orolbai because of my conspiracy that he was already prepared for a UFC spot now after his big win on LFA 2 weeks ago. They were already planning on bringing him in. All right, let's see what happens, man. I'm not touching the lines. I'm sitting and I'm watching. Uros Medic was not a bad underdog earlier in the week, but now at even money, I wouldn't throw at it. Fucking hell, man. What's Orolbai KO? Plus 350? I could see him KOing Medic. And I was just thinking Medic by decision, plus 500. That line sucks. That line's good, but it sucks to see because that means the likelihood of that from the bookie's perspective is low. And they got their AIs running all this shit. Who knows? Who knows? Let's go Orolbai. We're picking Orolbai. So, fuck it. Pick flip. Call me an asshole. Whatever. I know people love the pick flips. So, there's a pick flip for you. A very nervous pick flip to the side of the scary Kyrgyzstan prospect who I think might be an absolute stone cold killer at 25. So, I'm going with the stone cold killer. Give me Orolbai. Let's do it. Let's do it. Next fight on the card. Ladies going after it. Amanda Ribas versus Luana Pinheiro. I'm picking Amanda Ribas to win. These girls, they know each other well. Judo together. They like live together or lived in the same vicinity and have trained with one another. I think Ribas is the better MMA fighter. I still think Ribas has some hands on her. Luana Pinheiro, I just haven't been overly impressed with. She's like squeaking by a decision on Karate Hottie. She's winning against Sam Hughes by decision. Cool. The Ronda Marcos fight, I remember that. She wanted out from the up kick. I'm done. I'm glad she got the win, but it's just weird. She's not like the 11-1 record doesn't have me like, I'm tuned in. Is she the one? I would rather see Pinheiro have to fight Angela Hill. Let's see what she's really got. Now we got Ribas, who's dropping back down to women's straw from women's fly. How's the extra 10 pounds off going to be? Well, she made weight without issue, and I've been picking Ribas throughout the week, so I'm grateful to see that she made weight without issue. Let's look. There is Ribas. It looks kind of funny on the scale here, actually, but, you know, on weight, everything ready to go. There's Pinheiro. She's got the highlights. She's flexing out. She looks confident. Both girls very intense at the actual face-offs. We'll say Ribas looks leaner than normal, so that tells me maybe she put a little muscle on going up to 125 and had to drop a little extra body fat for 115, which I think could be a positive thing using her grappling strength. I'm going to pick Ribas to win here. I don't know. I'm feeling like there's a chance. There's a chance of sub for Ribas. But with the Pinheiro fight, this could end up being a dud of a 3-round kickboxing match between two people that know each other well outside of the cage. And then we get more of a sparring fight and Ribas takes a decision. I'm going to pick Ribas to get it done, though. And I'm going to say she comes out with a fire lit under her ass because she knows if she wants to contend, she's got to be impressive. And I'm going to say she ends up touching Pinheiro a bit on the feet and then subbing her on the ground. So give me Ribas, minus 230, the favorite. Pinheiro, a plus 195 underdog. I'm not betting the money lines on this one. Ribas and her to go over is minus 187. They're expected to. I could see it, but like, I don't know. I've been feeling this inkling of a finish for Ribas here. Ribas to win by sub. What do we got? Plus 375. I don't think that's good enough. I don't think that's good enough. Ribas over 2 takedowns, minus 130. Pinheiro over 1, minus 130. Damn, yo. The takedown. We going over 2 takedowns? I think we're going 2 takedowns exactly. I'm going to pick Ribas to get it done. Minus 230 for the money line. If you have to throw down on it. Though, you know, I'm not jumping at the bit too. Ribas win. Interesting fight. Next fight on the card. It's Payton Talbot versus Nick Aguirre. I'm picking Payton Talbot to get the win. I think he's a dangerous striker with an exciting style and big potential in MMA. Nick Aguirre on the opposite side, I think he's going to get ran over in the stand-up game, and I don't think he's going to have the capabilities of taking Talbot down and controlling him. If he gets him down, I see Talbot using his athleticism and his technical skill, bursting back up on the feet, and I think Aguirre is in serious trouble when they're striking. I think Talbot is so much more smooth, precise, and powerful than Aguirre in the striking that we're going to get a knockout. So Talbot to win. Everybody's picking Talbot. Let's look at the scales. There is Aguirre. Looks all right. I like the beard. I think he looks stylish with the haircut. There's Talbot with the flow. Got his septum piercing on with the, weird circle center. Taddy's got a unique flow. There's the face-off. I'm going to say Talbot finds his chin and knocks him out. We got to ride with the hype. We got to go Talbot. Now, betting-wise in this fight, like the odds, come on. Minus 700 Talbot? That's not sensible. Plus 500 Aguirre. Bro, Talbot at minus 700. Bro. Minus 700? He doesn't deserve a minus 700 yet. Maybe minus 400. They don't think Aguirre has a chance. I'm thinking Talbot does run him over, but minus 700 is a little wide. I'm going to say KO. It's interesting. The over is minus 205. Plus 165, the under, I think, is live. Talbot to win by knockout, minus 150. So we got the under at plus 165 for under 1.5. And then we got a knockout at minus 150. I'd rather go under 1.5 at the value, plus 165. Talbot for the win by knockout, I'll predict. It's minus 150, though. I'm going Talbot. I think he lets his hands fly. He's smooth. He strings them together well. And I think he rips apart Nick Aguirre on the feet, who I think is just outmatched in the striking. And I don't think he has the control, the strength to hold down Payton Talbot. I think Aguirre also gets caught being a southpaw. I think the straight lands for Talbot. We're going Talbot KO in this fight. Fun matchup. I'm excited to see the debut for Talbot. Next fight on the card, we got the battle of masculinity between Jordan Leavitt and Chase Hooper in our featured bout of the night. I've been picking Jordan Leavitt to get the win throughout the week. I mean, he can grow a little facial hair. He's going to win the battle of testosterone between these two. Nonetheless, I think that Jordan Leavitt is being slept on, being an underdog here. Chase Hooper is very hit-miss. I'm not ready to say that his striking deficiencies are gone, that he's going to run everybody down because he got a win over Nick Fiore. Fight before that, Steve Garcia destroyed him. Now, beating Philippe Colares, rest in peace to Philippe Colares. And then before that, Steven Peterson beat him up too. I think Jordan Leavitt can win by a decision. That's what I'm officially picking. And I think he's going to be the stronger guy when they tie up too. And in the striking, I think Leavitt's deceptively better, specifically to the clinch. There is Chase Hooper, a.k.a. the son of Ben Askren, with the front double bicep. Then there's Jordan Leavitt, rocking a very interesting hairstyle. He's got something new that he's bringing to the table here. He's got a kid on the way as well. Then there's the face-off. Very goofy face-off between these guys. Like, this is the battle for least intimidating fighter in the UFC. Does it go to the winner or the loser? I don't know. Nonetheless, I think when the cage door closes, Jordan Leavitt, he's a bit of an animal. The Monkey King, he brings out the beast. And I think he can beat Chase Hooper. Not an easy fight. Hooper's a tough kid. Like, we can say, oh, he's tough. He gets knocked out. He tries. He works hard. He's decent. He's got good grappling. I just think that Leavitt's a stronger guy, the better wrestler, and I think he's going to be the winner. Plus 170 Leavitt, minus 200 for Hooper. If you're touching this fight betting-wise, just Leavitt money line. That's my thought process. Over 2.5, minus 150 probably, but what if Leavitt knocks him out at plus 625? Leavitt by a decision, plus 400. Leavitt by sub, plus 700. That's crazy. Leavitt by decision is plus 400? The books don't know what the method of victory is going to be, huh? Hooper by a decision is what? Plus 175? I think Leavitt probably wins a decision. Plus 400 is mad wide for a decision win. Could he get the finish? Maybe. But I'm feeling decision officially. Inside distance is also plus 400. But Leavitt money line. Just straight money line underdog. I don't want to risk it with the props. I got to chase the method of victory in this one. Let me just go for a straight underdog here. So Jordan Leavitt to get the win. I do think he wins as an underdog in this fight. I'm picking him over Chase Hooper. Next fight is our co-main event of the evening. It's Jake Matthews versus Michael Morales. I'm picking Michael Morales. I have been all week. Jake Matthews is a tough veteran, a young veteran too at only 29. good hooks on him, can kickbox, rip the legs decently, but I think he's really going to be at a explosiveness deficiency, an athleticism deficiency, and a length deficiency here. We got a 7-inch reach advantage from Michael Morales, who's also only 24 and consistently developing his skill set. So my pick here is Morales, and I am going to say knockout win, though decision won't blow my mind here. There is Jake Matthews, looking pretty good on the scale with the front double bicep flex. There's Morales looking gang-related, actually, with the hand signs there. Then there's the face-off. Yeah, I think the 24-year-old wins. He definitely could knock Matthews out. But Matthews could take the big shots and survive. We've seen him go long and take a beating a bit. But nonetheless, I'm picking Michael Morales to win, as pretty much everybody is. He's a minus 330 favorite, wide favorite. Jake Matthews, plus 270 as a dog. I like Morales. He's a minus 330 favorite. I'm picking him to get the win. Morales by a decision is plus 200 with a KO at plus 135. I think Morales, if anything, you just parlay piecing it up with a Michael Morales money line as opposed to trying to chase with the props here. I'm going Morales for the W. I believe in the prospect. 15-0. Beat Max Griffin last time on a decision. Who's good. Adam Fugit gave him a little difficulty, but still got the finish. Trevin Giles win. Giles is all right. And then we look at the Contender Series fight against the OV. He takes him out. Yeah, I'm going Morales. Even though Matthews, yeah, he beat Darius Flowers. He got touched a bit by Darius too early in that fight. Darius, real short notice replacement. Michael Morales for the win. I'm going to call knockout officially, man. I'm not chasing the prop, though, but knockout win. Next fight is our main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Brendan Allen versus Paul Craig. I'm picking Paul Craig. I think he's going to get the win. I feel like he's going to submit Brendan Allen, and everybody's going to be kicking themselves saying, how did I look past an OG of OGs who submitted Jamal Hill, Magomed Ankalaev, and Nikita Krylov? I feel like Brendan Allen is an athletic guy for sure, and I think he has a solid stand-up game and really good grappling too. But I just wonder how this fight plays out if Paul Craig is able to sustain himself on the feet, threaten on the ground, and then we get into the later part of the fight. Third round, I'm going to call submission for Craig there. But round, don't chase those props if you're betting. Doesn't matter. I think Craig by sub. It could happen early while they're dry if Allen's overzealous and gets in the grappling position with Paul Craig. Craig is live for a sub off of his back. I'm picking Paul Craig by sub. Let's look at these guys on the scales. Paul Craig, a former 205 contender, now looking like a lean and mean middleweight. I think he looks ready to rock here. And then we got country boy, Florida's own, Brendan Allen. Then we got the face-off, man. Paul Craig looks intense. Paul Craig, at this big of an underdog status, too, is just not sensible to me. He's in great shape for this fight. I think he's still got a hell of a fight left in him. Live submission threat, competent stand-up. Like, he got knocked out by Johnny Walker, but he went distance with Volkan Oezdemir, who's a great striker, and still had moments on the feet. Yeah, I'm picking Paul Craig for the upset, man. I think he's being slept on by many, and I think that's ultimately going to be a mistake. You can just money line plus 340. That's a big dog. Brendan Allen, minus 440. I think the lines are way too wide and wrong in this fight. I think Paul Craig wins as a plus 340 underdog. Over 1.5, minus 125. I think it could go over, but I'm not crazy about that. Craig to win by submission, looking at the big plus money you'll get there, it is sitting at plus 500, Craig by sub. Money line's your best bet, but Craig, I do believe, probably gets a submission win here. Something of note, too, is like I'm looking at the Allen side, and I'm like, is he going to knock out Craig? I don't see it. So he's going to have to win a decision. Allen to win by decision, plus 650. Yeah, I think Paul Craig's going to end up surprising him here. I'm saying Craig wins. Allen over one takedown. I could see Allen landing a takedown. I could see Craig on his back threatening Brendan Allen. So I'm going to go Paul Craig for the upset at big plus money. I'm going to say submission win. I think he's being slept on. I think these lines are very wrong. I think this is actually more of a pick'ems fight with just crazy wide odds that are leaning towards the recency bias of Brendan Allen's impressive wins over Bruno Silva and Andre Muniz. But let's not forget, right? 4 fights back, Jacob Malhoun. I thought Brendan Allen could have easily lost that fight on the judges' scorecards. Malhoun, tough grappler, can wrestle well. A little better in the boxing than Craig, but not as large as Paul Craig. Not as high-level experience in the light heavyweight division as Paul Craig. I'm going Craig for the upset, guys. I think he can pull it off. Craig to win, going underdog in the main event. That is UFC Vegas 82, but I'm not done just yet because we got to look at the post-weigh-in parlay section. What am I thinking? Post-weigh-in, okay? We saw everybody on the scale, and when you see everybody on a scale, you can kind of get the feel of how everything's flowing. Well, you guys know I'm confident in my guy, Mick Parkin, to get the win. I think there's a real good chance that he ends up pulling it off, too. Now, who do I want to add into my slate? Jose Johnson with a huge size edge. Now you're at minus 100. Leroy Duncan plus 135. That's a little trifecta to throw out, but I'm going to remove the lock Johnson because I know some people don't like it with the lock there. And I'll even remove Leroy Duncan. I don't know why something's whispering that Orolbai end up winning. I go against myself. I flip. This could be big trouble or it could be big plus. So plus 137 for that. Alexander missed weight, minus 184. It's giving me nothing. Ailin Perez, good ladies fight, plus 103. I think she's got a good chance to get it done. Ogden is a live dog, plus 339. You run up the card with Talbot, too, plus 402. Add in big man Michael Morales, plus 569. Throw Johnson, the lock in your lineup, and then put Paul Craig on your slate. And now we're sitting at plus 4,457. Now we're in Savageville, USA. Now we're real animals here. Supreme animals, actually. Let's see. Is the over playable here? Let's see. Over 2.5, minus 150. Just a main card madness here. Let's see. Plus 900. Plus 122 without it for Morales and the over. Like Ogden, I think, is a good underdog to fight early. Motta hits hard, though, so maybe you don't want to run with them. Ailin Perez, Parkin, and Leroy Duncan is also interesting at plus 144 if you want to leave out Johnson, the lock. You throw Johnson in, you got plus 269 now. And then Michael Morales up top, plus 392. 5 favorites, what I see having great chances of success. We go Jordan Leavitt just cuz plus 1254 and then now plus 5,991 if we add Craig. The safety is on the 2 fighters, man. The 2 or 3. Like going with Mick Parkin, going with Johnson, minus 100. Going with Mick Parkin, going with Ailin, plus 103. Going with Mick Parkin, going with Leroy Duncan. I know it's minus 180, but I think this one ends up hitting too. I think there's a real chance that it comes through. Michael Morales, plus 107. Then you throw Craig at top, plus 832. There's some good ways you can line it up, man. Or you just want to go absolute freak mode. You want to go Parkin, Leroy Duncan, Talbot. Huge favorites, minus 129. I do think all 3 are winners. I think those are pretty good parlays, man. Bet it intelligently on the safer side, or if you want to throw down the Hail Marys and chase the big plus, I don't blame you. It's intriguing, it's enjoyable, and it's quite possible. Much love, my people. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Definitely let me know what you thought of the picks in the comments down below. I want to hear what the people are thinking. If you have nothing to say in those comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Make sure those post notifications are turned on. Don't just leave them on personalized. Put them on all so you don't miss a video, because I got daily content dropping on the channel that you don't want to miss. Yes, I'll be dropping early predictions this Sunday for that UFC Austin card, so keep your eyes peeled as the content doesn't stop. Much love, my people. I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.